On this week's show, 2 new micro showrooms are opening and new Strength Plus features.
Plus, updates to the Peloton Teams feature, Christine is writing a book, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and Chris Lewis.
Welcome to episode 229 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Pelo Buddy himself, Chris Lewis. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Amanda, how's it going?
It is good. It is good. Just back from a few days in New York, moving my baby in. It's the real wide world. First question my husband asked is she off the payroll now? And I said, honey, I don't think they're ever off the payroll. Right?
Never, right?
Are you still on somebody's AT&T bill or phone bill?
I am actually not, but I know many people who are, so.
I know, we laugh about that all the time. Yeah, so definitely bittersweet. And I did have to laugh because somebody reached out to me and said to me, so tell me, Amanda, do you think Peloton really did listen to your podcast last week? And that's why you got into some of the Beyonce classes because you were bitching. And I'm like, no, honey, I did that all by myself as I was driving to the beach last week and hitting refresh and the class is not loading and calling you in like a panic saying, Chris, what's going on?
It was definitely, supposed to be at noon, ended up not being until like 1:45 or something, but they showed up eventually.
They did show up eventually. And I was thrilled that I got into yoga with Chelsea, which I added as my pick of the week this week, and then row with Ash. So just fun, and the studio was buzzing. It was kind of weird being there on a Wednesday night.
Sure, throwing it back.
Yeah, absolutely. But definitely a ton of fun. So no, for those of you that do listen religiously, it was all by my lonesome. No special things for Amanda and Chris, but fun to be there anyway. All right, Chris, I guess we have tons to talk about for a change. So why don't we go right into it? As you know, folks, before we get started with the news, we always just like to remind you how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button so that you never miss an episode.
And we're on all traditional podcast platforms. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV, and you can find and subscribe and hear all the latest episodes.
Absolutely. And of course, all social media platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, X, just search for Pelo Buddy and follow us on those platforms for all of the latest news. And now let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right, well, our top story this week is that Peloton has 2 new micro showrooms opening this month. Last year in November or December, Peloton opened their first micro showroom, which essentially is a mall kiosk. It's, one of those little in the middle of the mall walkway booths with a couple items there. Well, it ended up Peloton is really happy with the performance of the one in Nashville. They said that even though it's a 1/10 of the square footage and obviously a much cheaper lease, they actually saw that they were getting as much engagement and revenue as they were from full showrooms. They said at the time they were going to explore more of those this financial year, and there are 2 of those opening this month. There's going to be one that opened this past weekend in Murray, Utah, and there's one this upcoming week opening in Las Vegas, Nevada. The interesting thing is that the one in Murray, Utah, they actually had a full showroom there earlier this year that they closed in February or March. And now they're going back to that same mall with one of these micro showrooms. So we don't know yet for sure what all of these micro showrooms are going to look like. We only have the one example, whether they've used the same setup in all these, but we'll know more in the coming weeks. But yeah, so we got 2 more of those micro showrooms opening. And they've said before this is kind of the future, so they plan to look into more of these and kind of use that to re-expand their retail footprint across the country.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of it. I got to say, I mean, I don't think many people use the showrooms for apparel sales. Most people would
And that
buy stuff online.
and that is
Yeah,
one note. These new micro showrooms actually
right.
do not sell
Do not
apparel,
sell.
so that
Right.
is one difference in these micro showrooms.
Yeah. The only drawback I see from it, Chris, is not being able to hold like events like these showrooms were doing. I mean, you know how active your
But
Atlanta. Oh, they
I
are?
will say, but they actually held an event at the Nashville Micro Room already. I
Okay.
believe it was around the CMA, something
Yeah,
CMA
I
related.
remember that.
Hannah
Yeah,
Corbin
yes,
and
yes,
one
yes,
of
yes.
the country stars were there. So
Quite
it
right.
will be a different type of event.
Right.
But I do think they still can do some sort of events there.
Okay. I know that your Atlanta showroom closed recently, and that was a pretty
Yeah.
active one.
It
So
was like
it
they
was
had Peloton on tour here. Just Sims was here a couple months ago. So,
yeah.
but they might come, do a new micro store. It's not going to be in the same location because that was kind of an outdoor mall. But there's a couple malls here that they could. They used to have one at Lenox Mall, more downtown. But there's like 3
Okay.
malls in the area. They could hypothetically have a micro showroom in the future.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll guess we'll wait and see what happens there. But that's good to
Yeah.
know. Good to know. All right. So the much dreaded, spoken about showroom. It's not showroom. I'm talking about showroom. Studio closures. Everybody hates them. They're happening anyway, folks. And we do have an update on the studio closures for both PSNY and PSL. Peloton did confirm that there will be an additional summer studio closure. These will occur over the Labor Day weekend here in the United States, extending through early September. Thursday, the 28th of August, so Thursday, August 28th, PSNY will be closed to in-studio members, and both PSNY and PSL will be closed with no live classes Friday, August the 29th through Monday, September the 1st. This, of
To
course,
clarify
is,
that, I
yeah,
believe on September 1st, PSL will be reopened.
they
So
will. Okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sundays both closed, and then Monday, New York stays closed for Labor Day. But I believe London should reopen on Monday.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And they typically just have 1 or 2 classes Monday more. Do they still have Monday morning classes? No, they don't have.
But
They don't have
not with members,
members.
but like
Not with
live.
members. Okay.
But like
So
they'll
they'll have
still hold the regular.
classes.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Yep. Yep. But no, obviously no live. So yeah, another weekend that the studio will be closed.
And then one other random note around studio closures, like we're getting into the summer closures we've talked about a couple times this past weekend. Both studios were closed. The cycling studio is going to be closed for 2 weeks, and then the tread closes on Thursday. But when they announced all this, they also said, London's still going to be open. A couple coaches are going to be going there, but London's going to be closed from August 11th to 17th. They might have changed that date because when there are actually member classes on August 16th and 17th in London, when they originally said it was going to be closed. So I'm not sure whether they canceled that August 11th through 17th closure for London or are shifting it. But, we've been saying in the past that they had announced that, but that 11th through 17th date seems to be slightly subject to change. So just a heads up on that bit.
Oh, that's a good one. I missed that. So that's definitely a good heads up. Great.
Yeah. Well, changing speeds a little bit, there is a new feature in the Peloton Strength Plus app. Now, before I mention what the feature is, I will just get this out of the way. It is still only available to iOS members, iOS owners in the US. There's no word yet on when that will expand to other countries or Android. We know a lot of people are excited to try it out, but we haven't heard anything about when that might come. But for those who do have it, the Peloton Strength app can now provide personalized weight recommendations. So essentially, it will look at your workout histories and your reps and your weights and can actually suggest when you might need to increase your weights. It uses AI to kind of just analyze your workouts, and it will, as you're working out, give you a real-time prompt if it thinks you're ready to suggest to increase your weight. It's got an accept button if you want to accept that, or you can ignore it. But yeah, so it'll just kind of use AI to nudge you to increase your weights if it feels like, based on the data it has on you and, probably the anonymized data set of all users and who use the app, to kind of guide you to
Pretty
get some
cool, hey?
gains. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool. You haven't like tried it out yet, have you?
I know when I do weight training, I typically will use my tonal.
Okay.
So I need to,
Shh.
I
Swear
know,
word. Don't
I
say
know,
tonal on a Peloton podcast.
keeping it real. It is what it
Well,
is.
well, you
Then,
know what? I'll just blanket you off by saying I canceled my tonal subscription. So there.
yeah, 1 for 1, right?
One for one, one for one. All right. Well, Peloton have rolled out a new feature in its mobile app that now allows members to share specific classes directly to their Teams feed. So, as you guys know, they had launched this Teams feed. I must be honest, I hadn't really gotten too involved in it, and people would send me invites to do certain classes and stuff, but I never really kind of got too much into it. There's just too much stuff on the platform as there is. But now you can actually share specific classes directly to these different teams. So the enhancement does make it easier for teammates to recommend workouts, plan group sessions, and engage around shared fitness interests. So from any class details screen, so if you go into the app and you kind of pull up a class, you can tap the share icon. That's the arrow in the box at the top of the class next to where it says class details. Choose from your joined Peloton teams, so whatever teams you've joined before, and then you can add a message or you can actually add somebody. So if you want to actually invite specific people to that specific class, you can do that, or you can just
Now,
message.
the one thing you said invite. I don't think it's like an invite to like on the platform invite. I think it's more of a notify them in the feed
About
section
the class.
rather than the invite like you would on the hardware
Got
device.
it. Yes. And it's funny you said it because I actually wanted to try it out while I was doing the story. I wanted to see how it worked. And I did see, and I just did like Mariana's walking meditation, which I loved. So what I did was I sent it to the Lost Toys, Run Club and said, this is one you guys should really try. Loved it. And I saw there wasn't really anywhere to invite somebody to do
Yeah,
it
I just
with
wanted to
me.
clarify. You used the invite word, and I know has
Yeah,
multiple meanings, so I just wanted to clarify that point.
100%, 100%. Yeah. But it's just another way of engaging with members in a safe space,
Yeah,
and telling folks, kind of what to do and not using your social media platform for it.
yeah. I mean, I
Um,
know like the people they want people to talk about things in the Teams feature, and clearly one of the things you're going to be talking about the most is classes. So it makes sense to add this, where rather than saying go find this class on this date and making them search for it, you can now
100%.
directly share the class.
Right, because that post will now appear in the team feed, so
Right.
so other members can like, comment, and react to it. And I think it just really does, Chris, build up on Peloton's ongoing expansion of teams, as you said, which were originally introduced to help members just kind of form groups around common goals and structures and interests. Now it gives it a little bit more functionality.
Yeah, because I mean, like
So
the Peloton has been saying that there are Facebook groups with hundreds of thousands of people, and the conversations are happening there. Teams are their way to try to bring some of that in-house and get it off these other platforms. And, once they get people there, they can build on that and capitalize that. So they're just trying to
exactly.
guide more people into the Peloton app.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. All right.
Well, going back to the Strength Plus app for a minute, we have another new program available, and this is called Iron Elite, and it was created by Assal Arian, and this is her third program, and it is a advanced program, but it has 3 times a week you'll be doing a 90-minute full body strength workout. The program description is this is a 3-week program driving you to push weight and build elite level muscle, power, and strength. Let's go. Assal talked about the new program a little bit, and it talks about how it is for experienced lifters who are ready to push their limits. You'll need to be comfortable with a barbell, maxing out and training with high intensity. and you'll be focusing on heavy lifts, strength conditioning, and auxiliary work. You should do it for 3 weeks, and then she recommends to take a deload week and then come back stronger for round 2. Like I said, there's 3 workouts each week, and it's a 90-minute workout each week. And that is available in Strength Plus if you are interested. And again, have iOS and are in the US.
So my assumption was it's in German, but no, because it's on
English.
Strength Plus. Okay,
English,
interesting.
correct.
Okay. So my assumption was immediately Assal German, but that's great to know that it's not. It's in English. All right, good stuff. That's awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, those of you that love kettlebells, the brand new Discover Kettlebells training program has been launched. The program started on July the 7th as part of its expanding strength training offerings. It consists of 15 classes over a 5-week period, blending foundational kettlebell skills with progressive strength training.
To clarify, I believe it's over 4 weeks.
What did I say?
5.
Oh, did I? Okay. It's over 4 weeks. You sure?
I believe so.
Okay. I was sure that it said 5. All right. Well, I'm not going to argue with Mr. Pelo Buddy. So if you say it's 4, it's 4.
We'll go with 4 or 5. How about that?
4 or 5 weeks. But what it does do is it is there to really just help with progressive strength training. The format is a mix of on-demand and live classes, with the on-demand on Mondays and the live classes on Thursdays. The goal of this program is for members to learn and improve their kettlebell technique and to build strength. You will earn a badge by completing the full series. So that was something that I think was different, is that you really have to complete all of those 15 classes in order to receive that badge. But it is Peloton's first kettlebell-specific program and aims to serve both beginners and experienced users looking to enhance their functional strength and mobility on platform.
And I think the difference is the program itself is 4 weeks and it's 4 weeks of classes, but to do the challenge to get the flash badge, you have 5 weeks to do that. So I think that's the discrepancy from the 4 to 5 weeks.
Putting me in my place, Mr. Lewis. All right.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Good catch there. Good catch there.
Well, as we share every week, Peloton teases some classes each week, and they're this week at Peloton Post. And this week we have a couple different classes. We have a progressive push from Allie Love, which was her first of that class type. We have a hike with John Hosking, which took place on Tuesday. And then we had a couple classes drop on demand. One of those was a calming walking meditation with Mariana. And then we also had some new strength and mobility classes for golfers. There was a strength for golfers and 20-minute strength for golfers and a 10-minute mobility for golfers. And both of those were with Selena, and those dropped on Wednesday.
Nice. All right. Well, Peloton has teased that there will be more WNBA content coming after releasing a post on IG, on Instagram, with Tunde interviewing Peloton ambassador and 3 times WNBA champion Brenna Stewart. So Tunde did a cute this and that with Brianna, firing some quick, rapid questions and kind of encouraging folks to look out for this to come, some more content to come in the future. We don't have anything specific at the moment, but wanted to share that was something that Peloton had on their socials.
Yeah, and Ash Pryor has a new series she's going to be starting. We're not sure yet if there's going to be an unofficial series or like a fully official series that gets its own collection, but it's going to be called Love Letter Rose, where Ash is asking for member submissions, and she's going to use the stories that members submit to create the classes. Ash is requesting people send in their wellness wins in a Dear Ash format. And those classes where she utilizes those will be on July 21st, August 3rd, and September 14th. And she is taking submissions for those right now and has a form on her Instagram. You can go to her Instagram account and go to the link in her bio, and there's a Google form where you can submit that too, for a chance to include her story in the upcoming classes.
Nice. All right. Well, the 4th of July holiday weekend is behind us, but we did want to just do a quick share that Peloton did, in fact, release just 2 special classes. When we spoke about it the week before, we weren't sure if anything else was going to drop, but they did release 2 special classes to celebrate Independence Day 2025. Rebecca Kennedy had her 20-minute walk plus run, and we got the 45-minute Summer Blast full body strength class, which was so much fun. They had Adrian, Andy, Callie, Camilla, Katie, and Maddie all teaching that class. Taking either of those classes earned members a new 4th of July 2025 badge, but just note that it is not retroactive to any past 4th of July classes. That badge was just for the 2025 classes.
Well, also this past week was Amazon Prime Day, and Peloton was included in that as it has been in the past. This year, every piece of hardware other than the guide was included on the sale. There's a various discounts each year. And this year, the row and tread were both about 10% off, which are kind of typical for those. The bike plus was discounted to kind of the 20% off, which is what we've seen in some of the past. The biggest deal that we saw was on the original Peloton bike. It originally was dropped about 20% off, which is to what we've seen in some of the seasonal sales. But after a little while, they actually discounted it down to 25% off, which brought it to under $1,000, which was one of the deepest discounts we've seen on this in probably over 2 years, I think, since 2023 Black Friday. And like I said, the guide wasn't included in this, which was actually kind of surprising because it seems like the guide is being discounted every other day.
They've given them all away for free, Chris. They've gone.
Pretty much. I mean, like, they might be running out of stock of those, but Amazon didn't have any stock available for those, so the guide was not included. In addition to the hardware devices, apparel was included for discount. Some of the weights and accessories were included as well, but that sale ended this past Friday for Prime Day.
All right. This next story is kind of strange. Peloton have been promoting and advertising their Disney Plus feature on the entertainment section of the hardware, but it's really been available for almost a year now. So that was definitely something that, like, all of a sudden, we're not sure why, right? We have no real reason.
The only reason I can think is that the new Ironheart show came out, and they actually did a dedicated post about Ironheart. And I know it's like a bigger promotion with Disney, so maybe it was let's use this to kind of re-promote it and get the word out there type thing because of Ironheart.
Got it. Well, what we did find, though, was that annoyingly, members have reported that they now are having to log in, though, every time they want to use the app when they weren't required to do so before. So we don't know how that change occurred, but members have definitely reported that. So we wanted to share that with you guys.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like you were saying, like they made it sound like it's brand new, it's available, it's out of beta, but it's, like you said, been a year now. But, now more people know it's there, and if they hadn't checked it out, maybe you did this last week. So
exactly.
Well, and a topic we haven't talked about much recently, there has been a new lawsuit filed against Peloton. This one is actually about Peloton apparel, but not quite in the way you might think. A resident of Florida has sued Peloton over their use of text messages. And the issue is that this person claimed that they opted out from text messages. They sent the word stop and as a reply to the text messages. And let me step back. You can opt into text messages from Peloton apparel, and then on a semi-frequently, maybe daily, you get them a lot if you get them, but you can get text messages about Peloton apparel discounts and new things. Well, like other text messages, you can reply stop to opt out of those. This user opted out by sending stop. They included a screenshot where they said, "You're now unsubscribed," but then they say that they kept getting text messages from them. They have filed a claim under the Telephone Consumer Protection Act that this is in violation of some federal laws. It's against some policies. It's, they need to keep an internal do not call list, basically because you're supposed to have clear protocols for honoring consumer requests to stop communications. So they're seeking $1,500 per violation, a court order for Peloton to change their practices, and they're also seeking to turn this into a class action lawsuit for other people who might be in the same boat. So, you can sue for anything. We have heard one side of this. Now, they did include, screenshots of their text messages where, unless it's doctored, which is probably not, because that would be probably a crime to
In
file
itself,
false
right.
things in its lawsuit, but they they got a message that said, cool, you're opted out. And then the next day they got a new, message from Peloton Apparel. But that suit is now ongoing in Florida. And if there's an update, we, can share that with you down the road.
Is it suable? I mean, that is just like, wow.
I mean,
I get being irritated and frustrated, but go to the head and just say, stop sending me text messages.
Yeah, I mean, there is federal laws around that sort of thing, so I guess they're there
not
for
on the
a
platform
reason.
anymore or they changed their leaderboard name, because I'd hate to think that they were still on there with a similar name to what they've sued them for.
Right.
All right. Well, that wraps up our news for this week. We can go straight into Instructor in the News. And first up, some lovely news from Selena Samuela. Selena announced on social media that she is pregnant with her second child. She expressed excitement about expanding her family, especially after a series of losses. She said on Instagram, I've been holding onto this one for a little while, and I've been wanting to scream it from the rooftops. Selena and her husband welcomed their first child, Taran, in 2022, and she had been very vocal about some of these pregnancy losses that she's had and her struggles with trying to conceive and how frustrating it's been. So always nice to see, kind of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yes.
So really excited for her and wishing her well. We don't know a due date. I don't believe she's actually said when her due date is, but we'll see that belly grow, I'm sure, in workouts. So huge congrats from us.
Yeah. Well, in other news, Christine Diercole has shared that she is writing a book. And we had actually shared a while back that this book was going to be on the way, but Christine has now kind of officially, extra officially said it's coming. She hasn't said the publication date yet. This was more of a teaser for it, but she actually announced the title, which is called Talking to Myself. And this past week, she shared about it because it was picked up by a publisher. It's going to be published by Putnam, which is an imprint of Penguin Random House. And she shared a little bit about, what it's going to be. Because when she first teased it, we weren't sure if it was going to be a biography, if it was going to be a self-help book. But she says that talking to myself is a journey from self-harm to self-care through self-talk. There's going to be story, commentary, writing, and thinking exercises. And it's going to provide very practical and powerful tools for navigating the terrain of our often deprecatory self-talk to change the way we think about who we are and who we are capable of being. In effect, this book is a guide to practicing agency and moving from negative to productive self-talk. So it sounds like this is going to be kind of along the lines of her word shop and some of those workshops and turning some of that into book form. And I'm sure using some stories from her past, her cycling, just her personal life, and including all that in there. So like I said, she has not announced the publication date yet. It is not open for pre-orders yet, but we will be sure to share an update on that when it becomes available. But that will be called, like I said, Talking to Myself.
Nice. All right. Well, some fun news from Cody Rigsby. Cody is stepping into a new spotlight as a guest judge on the festive new game show Wrapped, which premiered on July the 8th on both QVC Plus and HSN Plus. The show is a 4-episode series which is hosted by Ricky Lake and features contestants competing in, wait for it, gift wrapping challenges. There is something for everybody, folks, for a $5,000 prize. So if you are a great gift wrapper, you have the potential of winning $5,000. And guess who's going to judge you? Cody Rigsby himself. He will be alongside a rotating panel, including Ross Matthews, who is a TV personality, Dolce Sloan, a comedian, and Dasha Palanco, an actress. I'm afraid to say I am not familiar with any of those three, but maybe we will be, because we will be watching Wrapped, so we know what Cody is judging. The show is part of QVC HSN's Christmas in July programming. Viewers will also be able to shop the featured holiday products seen during the show, such as wrapping supplies and festive decor. Episodes will be released weekly and are free to stream. Something for everybody, Chris.
Indeed. Well, Barbie this week released their first ever Barbie doll that has type 1 diabetes. And as part of promoting that, and just as part of the creation of that doll, they teamed up with Robin Arzon. So Barbie, like I said, in addition to Robin Arzon, they worked with Breakthrough Type 1 T1D, which is formerly the JDRF, who is a global type 1 diabetes research and advocacy organization. But they created this doll in the spirit of inclusivity and representation, saying that this is going to encourage doll play that, kind of includes a child's own lived life. And it is part of their fashionistas line of the brand, which includes 175 different variations of Barbie, which is, there's been one with Down syndrome, one with hearing aids, one with a wheelchair. So it's just creating a variety of different dolls. But in addition to, so this doll has been released. It's available on the Mattel website. It's available on Amazon, retailers like that. But as part of the promotion, as I was saying, they actually teamed up with Robin Arzon, and as part of the promotion, they actually created a custom one-of-a-kind Robin Arzon doll. It is a one-of-a-kind doll. They said it is dressed in yellow, if you know, you know, and sporting her yellow signature swagger. It does include a insulin pump and a CGM, which are utilities for people who wear diabetes. They posted all of this on social media, but in addition, Robin showed off the doll and talked about the partnership in a recent Peloton class as well. This was our 30-minute 90s pop ride, which took place on July 8th at 3 p.m. And this also solved a little mystery that took place when they dropped the Cowboy Carter classes, which were this past Wednesday. They also dropped a Robin class on Tuesday afternoon with members, which again, like on Wednesdays, there's not normally Peloton classes with members on Tuesdays. And people were curious about why that was. Well, it turns out it was this Barbie release class. So that's why that had members. And there was I believe it was a Mattel employee who was there as well, talked a little bit about the class and presented Robin with that custom one-of-a-kind Barbie to her.
Very cute. Very cute. Did everyone else get diabetes Barbies? Here's a Barbie for you. Here's a Barbie for you.
I'm not sure.
Haven't heard any much of that. All right. Well, we had shared previously that Bradley Rose and his wife Sophia were launching their own new podcast titled Relatable. Well, it's officially out with 4 new episodes launched this past week. My drive back from New York City on Friday gave me the opportunity to sit back, relax, and laugh a lot. They are absolutely hysterical together. And I think this podcast will prove to be one that's fun and easy to listen to. The first episode, they shared how they met and spoke all about their relationship, answering questions that Sophia used ChatGPT to help suggest what should be some of the questions to ask first time on a podcast. Like how they first met, what were their impressions of each other, to something they've never shared with anyone else. So it was just absolutely fantastic. It's about 50 minutes long. Episode 2, they chatted about their IVF journey, being quite vulnerable and open, which was absolutely fantastic. As I have shared many, many times on the podcast, having been through fertility myself, having 3 IVF children, and having worked in the industry for 30 years, it is so refreshing to see a celebrity really, and we do look at our Peloton instructors as celebrities, to be so open and vulnerable in their journeys. What was interesting was they had asked listeners to send in questions, which they then answered in the episode. So these were all questions that folks had kind of sent in, asking about their experience and what had happened and stuff. And of course, all I want, as I'm listening to them answering, of course, I'm answering these questions for them. And I'm saying, they were talking about having somebody on the show. I'm like, I'll be on your show. I'd love to be on your show. So Brad and Sophia, if you're listening to this, I'll come on your podcast to talk about your IVF journey with you. Episode 3 was just hysterical, where they were asking listeners to be the judge of one of their recurring arguments. And Episode 4, which is titled Baby Watch, I haven't had a chance to listen to that one yet, as I guess I'm a rather fast driver and pulled into my driveway as it was starting and had to prepare to tape this Pelo Buddy podcast. But I can only imagine it's as brilliant as the first 3, and I cannot wait to listen to it. So if you haven't, it is on all your podcast platforms. I listen to it on Spotify, but it's out. They're out there. They're fantastic. And I think this is going to prove to be just a fun, easy to listen, 45-minute podcast.
Well, in other podcast news, Marcel Dinkins had a podcast appearance this week. She was on the She's So Lucky podcast. This was episode 299 of the show, and she talked about the art of pivoting and the value of new experiences in life. So that's available to hear more from Marcel Dinkins.
And huge shout out to Jeffrey McKeechan, who ran his very first 100-kilometer ultra. He, just so unbelievably impressive. He thanked the community for their love and support on social media. Susie Chan shared an amazing video. A huge shout out goes also to Susie Chan, who was right there to crew him through the race. So just really impressive. And as we all know, Susie is an ultra marathoner. They have become really close over the last, year or so. And it was just so incredible to see the two of them side by side, and Susie just cheering him on and not having to be the one running.
Well, she did run, I think, like 30 or so miles, and then had an injury.
Was it as much as 30? Was it as much as... I think it might have been less. She said she wasn't feeling great. Her legs, something was sore, and she just said she didn't want to jeopardize
Susie, 30
anything.
miles is the warm up, right?
True. Probably. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Congrats to Jeffrey. That's an awesome accomplishment. And then sticking with Susie, she had an appearance on a podcast as well. She was on the Run Ultra podcast and was talking about ultra marathons and long distance running. So you can find that on the Run Ultra podcast, and that was Susie Chan making an appearance.
And that, folks, are your instructor in the news updates. Next up, we'll go right into class picks of the week. And why don't you kick it off, Chris?
All right, to get things started, we had Rebecca Kennedy and her 30-minute Jimmy Buffett walk. That was from July 3rd, and this came from Teresa Robbie, who said great tunes to walk to. Then we have Dennis Morgan, who also did a 30-minute Jimmy Buffett ride from July 3rd. This came from Paige Anderson and Denise Finley, who said not a challenge, but it was great for the soul. And then we have the 45-minute Summer Blast Full Body Strength, which was that special 4th of July class with 6 different instructors. This came from Bobby K812, who said, so fun having so many coaches teach this class.
All right. And then we had Hannah Frankson's 30-minute Tabata ride. This was from July the 5th. It came from AZ Onion. Just an amazing class from Hannah. And then Charlotte Wiedenbach had her 30-minute metal ride class in English. This was from also July the 5th. It came to us from Tess Cheese KK, and they said, tough, spicy ride with a great playlist. And then Christine Derkley had a 45-minute sprint interval training ride. This one also dropped on July 5th. It came to us from Just Dance Lisa, and they said these are great training classes.
And then we have Leanne Hainsby and her 30-minute tropical house ride from July 6th. This came from Almajar 3. She said this class is sure to put you in a great summer mood. We have Ben Aldis and his 30-minute Power Zone endurance ride, also from July 6th. This came from Tommy244, who said solid PZ class from Ben. And then we have Benny Adami and a 20-minute 80s ride, which was in German, from July 6th. This came from Almajar 3, who said this was a blast. Great 80s playlist from Benny, as always.
And then Ali Love, her 30-minute progressive push from July the 7th, came to us from Summer Baby and Christina M. Romano. They said spicy endurance class with a power zone feel. This wasn't her last class, was it? Was that the class that she said?
There was one on July 8th, I believe. That was her last class for a bit.
Got it. All right. And then Nico Serrani had a 10-minute yoga flow. It was in German. It was also from July 7th, came to us from Amajar 3. And Amanda said, great quick flow leading up to a half moon pose. And then Robin Arzon's 30-minute 90s pop ride from July the 8th. This came to us from Spin the Musical, and they said very special class with the type 1 diabetes Barbie doll announcement.
And then Bex Gentry and her 30-minute Hit and Hills run from July 9th. This came from Just Dance Lisa, who said great structure and workout in this one. We have Jeffrey McEachern in his 45-minute Cowboy Carter run in German from July 9th. From Melanie 7F. They said Jeffrey is the biggest Beyonce fan, and it's shown through in this class. Then we have Tunde in her 30-minute Cowboy Carter full body strength class, also from July 9th. This came from Roland EE1. He said great workout, but also a great message.
Nice. And then rounding up this week's picks of the week is my one, as well as Thirsty to Thrive. It is Chelsea Jackson Roberts' 30-minute Cowboy Carter yoga flow. It was from the 9th. Just great vibes. This is what Thirsty to Thrive said. I will add that she came glowing. I mean, she dressed up in her cowboy hat and her cowboy boots, which she then ripped off in pre-show to flow with us. The class was so much fun. There was a little bit of insider info that I can give you from that class. There was one of the Pop Sugar writers in the class that I think will be doing a feature on Chelsea, from what I understood, who was lovely, Sarah. And then we had a Lululemon ambassador, one of Chelsea's friends, was flowing next to me, yoga teacher Eric. So it was kind of fun to be in a class, with some celebrities, as well as
you mean they were in there with you, the celebrity, right?
All right, Chris. Now they may be B-list, I'm D-list. But yes, it was fun. And then we had two members that I love seeing in studio is Kiki and Yam Christy Potter. We're both in there with two others, and
Nice.
A fun, really great class. Of course, at the same time similar time, we had Kirsten Ferguson and Robin Arzon's 30-minute Cowboy Carter 2-for-1 run. And yeah, thanks for offering up that weightless spot, Chris, but there was no way I was running with those two. Too hard. But All Is Bright did the run, and they said great combo of the two instructors in this one. And last up, we have Jocelyn Thompson Rules 30-minute kettlebell strength. This was from July the 10th. Came to us from Shiny Fish 22, and they said the first live kettlebell strength class, and it was amazing. And that, folks, wraps up the picks of the week. Wow.
All right.
See? Look at us. We did it. 44 minutes. I said to you 45 minutes. We did
You
it,
did.
Chris.
And the studios might
telling-
be closing, but there's no lack of news and things still happening. So
No lack of news. So hopefully we'll bring you a show next week with some stuff. There won't be any class picks of the week because there's nothing new coming to us. Well, maybe
there will
they'll
be.
be
I
on
mean, those
call.
classes. No,
Yeah,
and
their
the studios
classes
only close
dropping.
through Sunday, and then Monday they pick back up.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, in both studios, so there'll still be classes.
Just not live for members. Okay, got it. Well, when do they go dark for live for members? This weekend?
This weekend through Sunday, like today, it was
Okay.
totally live Friday through Sunday. Monday they pick back up, but the cycling studios closed, so everything except cycling in New York will still be happening. And then this Friday is when the tread studio in New York closes for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and folks, don't forget, just head to pelobuddy.com if you're unsure of what dates, which studios will be closed and what modalities they won't be having. Head over to pelobuddy.com. Chris has all of that information on there, so you can absolutely get it from there. And, they are going to be dropping new classes. They just won't be live classes. So as we said previously, if you're celebrating a birthday or a milestone, you won't be getting shout outs.
And to make it
during those
easier,
classes.
there's in our latest news, trending news, there is a ticker there that has, the summer closures, or you can go to the popular topics area and there's a
Right.
summer closures link there to make it easy to find.
Right. And if you subscribe and you, want to donate to pelobuddy.com, you can get all that information advert free online. So don't forget, you can do that. Got to plug it in. We haven't done it in a while,
course.
Chris. So we got to throw it in there. Anyway, folks, as always, it's always such a pleasure to be able to bring this news to you. I will say, Chris, you were teasing me about the celebrity. It was very sweet. I don't know her name. She didn't introduce her, but a very lovely woman who was in the run on Wednesday, did come up to me and say, you're Amanda from Pelo Buddy. Can I say hi? And I'm very
Nice.
chuckled. So I always love it when
Nice.
folks acknowledge me, and I always want to thank you. So sorry I didn't get your name if you're listening, but I really appreciate you coming to say hi, and hope you had a fantastic class. All right, folks, we are going to wrap it up from here. As always, thank you for tuning in, for listening, watching. And hopefully you got all the news you needed for this week. And we will see you back here next week. So for me here in Maryland, bye for now, everybody.
And from me here in Atlanta, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see everyone next time. Bye.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag. And don't forget to find us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available. Just search for Pelo Buddy wherever you get your podcasts from. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.